Okay, good morning all. Can you hear my voice?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Morning,
sir.
sir.
Good morning.
We can
Okay,
hear your voice, sir.
good. Let's start our lecture today. Um, Today we will hopefully you already seen the YouTube video that I sent you. Uh, the video calls, the title of the video is The Warriors of the Net. I saw that video, or watched that video. Uh, um, words still applied today. Yes, words. Okay. Although there have been many.
Sir,
Yeah.
I think your connection is unstable.
Okay. 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 Hey, can you hear my voice?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll continue. So the principle of how internet works still apply today, although there are many advancements. That's the way the data being transmitted from you to the intended servers. For example, if you send or if you uploaded your picture to Instagram, your picture will go through the process that has been shown on the video. Okay. If you send a line chat or Telegrams or WhatsApp or any others chatting application, that's the way it works. Even with a video call like what we do today with Microsoft Teams, that's how the data communication works. Okay. So let me share the screen. Okay. Okay, can you see it? Can you see the slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you see the slide? Okay, good. So we will discuss the telecommunication, the internet, and wireless technology. There are two different words that often used interchangeably, which is mobile and wireless. Your smartphone, your tablet, and in some cases probably your laptop, both wireless and mobile. Mobile means you can move the devices easily. while wireless means it doesn't require cable as a media to communicate, to exchange data, to exchange information. Okay. So these two words, mobile and wireless, are two different words, but they often used interchangeably, especially with our mobile devices. However, it's possible to have wireless but not mobile. If you look at the antenna of cellular telephone operator, the antenna that transmit the signal to your mobile phone, they are wireless because they don't use wire to communicate, but they are not mobile. It's very hard to dismantle those antenna and move to another place in a short time. Your desktop computer, although it's not wireless, it is mobile. You can dismantle it and move it to another place immediately. Okay, so that's the differences between the definition or the term of mobile and wireless. However, like I said, nowadays it's very easy to use that interchangeably. That especially our smartphone is mobile and wireless at the same time. Okay. Now, and also more often now than ever, we saw that a lot of telecommunication services has been converged into one services. Let me show you this. Just a moment. Okay. Okay, if you look at this picture, in the old days, you probably need few devices, like for example, mobile phone, GPS, MP3 players, game, camera, video camera, voice recorder, calculator, USB flash drive for storage, camera video, and any others, book reader. Nowadays, it can be replaced just by one smartphone. So anything that you need for your daily digital life is available. In my household, the TV nowadays is rarely used except for to project movie or serial that we watch through streaming services like Netflix or Disney Plus or Amazon Prime Video. The TV is not used for watching television anymore. Okay. And even that, we don't need TV. We use TV just because it has a big screen. That's it. So it's more convenient. It's easy in the eyes. But we don't need TV. We can watch Netflix in our mobile phone or in a tablet. Okay. But for me personally, because I had wear glasses that quite thick, watching in a small screen is not really preferable. But you got the point. So that's convergence. Okay, we have replaced a lot of devices by using just single devices, which is our mobile phone or our tablet or our computers. Okay, and we do have broadband. Okay, wide bandwidth telecommunication. So when we discuss bandwidth, a lot of people often confuse or using the term bandwidth to explain the speed of internet connection or data connection. It's slightly misleading term because bandwidth is a measurement of capacity. It means if you have 10 megabits connection, it's bigger capacity than 1 megabit connection. Okay, it's not necessarily faster. The speed of data traveling from you to your destination is similar all over the universe, which is close to the speed of light, about 300,000 kilometers per hour or per second, I can't remember. Okay, but that's it. Okay, it could not go any faster. However, if you have 10 megabits of data and you transmit the data using 1 megabit bandwidth, 1 megabit per second, then you need 10 seconds to transmit those 10 megabits at least. With a connection that has 10 megabits bandwidth, you need only 1 second to transmit 10 megabits of data. That's why the bigger the bandwidth, it seems to the user it's faster. It's not faster, it's just wider. Just like when you use a small road and a highway, okay? You can go faster, you can put a lot of car in a bigger highway, okay? And if the highway is empty, you don't need to wait for other cars or stuck in traffic jam. That's what makes it as same as faster. Okay, so a lot of communication service nowadays or data services can be delivered through your devices, your mobile devices. Okay, so what is computer network? Computer network is two or more computer connected to each other that enable them to send and receive information. Okay, and not only that, if you look at this, with network we can share resources. For example, if you look at the iCloud or Google Drive or Dropbox, okay, thousands and thousands and probably even million or billions users share a single hard drive. Well, not single physically, but there are plenty of hard drive and each user can share that. Okay. Take a look at our campus, our university. Our university subscribe to one internet connection, and it will be it's shared among us, among the students, among the lecturers, among the staff at the university. Okay, using Wi-Fi and everything else. So we don't need to subscribe on our own. If we use Wi-Fi at our university, okay. You probably don't realize it, but in a lot of other places, especially in the lecturers' offices, we share a printer. Okay, there are only a few printers available for us. Okay, and we can use that together. I don't need to install printers on myself, although I have my own printers, but that's another story. But other lecturers can use the printers that we share. Okay, so that's why not every lecturer's office has a printer, although they have computers, because we share the sources. So it's economically more efficient. Okay. So there are plenty of networking in companies. Okay, we can use many media to deliver the data, the information. Okay, if you look at this picture, this is just like what we have in our campuses. We have a connection to the computers. We have servers that provided you with services like Situs Kuliah. SIATMA library. Okay. We have a shared Wi-Fi connection. You can access the library using your mobile phone. Okay. You can register to class. You can make a call to Microsoft Teams like what we did today. Okay. So plenty of application. The key to the digital networking technologies is a model that's called client server. That means that there are servers that provide services and there are clients that use or utilize the services. The university provide us with Situs Kuliah. Okay, that's the server, and we as the client use Situs Kuliah for our academic activities. The internet is using client server model. Okay, so for example, you watch Netflix. Netflix has servers that they deliver streaming movie or serials, TV series to you as a client. Now, internet, especially using a methods of delivering information or data called packet switching. This is the one that you already watch in the video Warriors of the Net. Okay. This is the basic principles on how information can be delivered over the internet. So if you remember, if you have this data or information or message that you want to deliver to the recipient here, then the message will be divided into few packages. In this example, there are 3 packages. Each package will deliver through different channel. Okay, and in this example, in this picture, there are 3 channels. Okay. If you look at the package, there are 2 distinct parts of the package. The one, which is the bigger box, and smaller box that attached to it. If you remember, that's the address and everything else. So within the data package, it contains 2 parts. The first part is the information itself or the data, which is represented by the bigger box here. The second part is the information about the package, the destination, the source. Okay. So when the packages arrive in their destiny, the recipient will be able to assemble the message as the original message here. Because why? Because in this small box here, there is information about how many packages that should be delivered and how to assemble the packages. The sequence of the packages, like you see, green, light gray, and dark gray. That's the sequence of the package. It doesn't necessarily mean that package number 1 will arrive first, followed by packet number 2 or 3. No, it could be packet number 3 arrive first, and then packet number 1, and then packet number 2 will be the last one to arrive. Okay. Now, this small circle here representing sorry, the one in the video that called as router. Okay, so router is basically a small computer that manage the data package. They will decide how many packages that will be delivered, through where, and how long. Okay, so they will select the route, like here using route 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Now, these protocols, or the way computers communicate, is called the TCP/IP protocols, or packet switching here. Okay. This has been developed at the early days of Cold War. Cold War is the rivalry between the Western Bloc, which is at that time was led by the US, and also the Eastern Bloc at that time was led by the Soviet Union. Now Soviet Union has been disbanded, and we call it Russia. Okay. Now they were having rivalry, although they are not actually or officially at war. That's why it's called the Cold War. Okay. So what's motivated the US government and also the Western countries to develop this? At that time, Soviet Union has been able to develop atomic bomb or nuclear bomb, and they have tools to deliver the bombs to the Western countries, including the US. During the war, when what they learned from the World War II, because telecommunication is vital to the success of war. So the US government, using the research brand of Department of Defense, developed telecommunication infrastructure that can survive nuclear attack. And this is this packet switching. Okay, so how it works? First, the router here that I already mentioned will select the route where the data package will be delivered. Okay, that's automatically. They have their own calculation, and they have their own way of selecting the route. Second, the package itself. It can be sent in different routes, and it will be received, and then the receiver will have a way to assemble the package. Now, what happened if, for example, there were a war, and this package number 3 that going through the bottom line, and the bottom line has been bombed, so it's destroyed. What happened? Obviously, packet 3 will be lost because it will not reach the destination here. The receiver will wait for a few seconds or milliseconds, I can't remember exactly the numbers. And then when only packet 1 and 2 arrive, the receiver will tell the sender, packet number 3 is lost. So the sender will send another package, which is packet. And then the router here will understand from the recipient that the bottom line somehow destroyed or having difficulties or damage. So the sender will send another package using another route that was good. Okay, maybe not the one in the middle or maybe the one in the top. Okay, so that's done automatically. So the receiver will receive the complete information. That's how the TCP, IP, and packet switching network works. And like I said, this was developed in the 50s and 60s, so it's quite old, older than me. So, and yet it's still being used today. Okay, that's the foundation of all our digital life today. Okay. I'll skip this because it's too technical. Okay, so it used to be when I used the internet for the first time around 1997, so it's 23 years ago already. The main communication media is telephone, okay, using cables, not mobile phone. The problem with telephone is their signal is analog signals, okay, while internet and computers talk in digital. So this is analog signal can be pictures with wavy line, while the digital is the boxy line here. Okay? So we need modem. Modem will change digital signal to analog and then change the analog to digital signal. This is the device that I use. This is the exact device that I used in 1997, the US Robotic modem. the capacity only 56 kilobit per second. It's well in comparison to fiber optic connection that we had today, up to maybe 100 megabits per second. It's well in comparison to 4G connection that you have in your mobile phone, your Wi-Fi. But that was sufficient back then. It cost about 750,000 at the time. Now, in telecommunication, we have media where our data will be traveled. There are two different media. First, using cable or wire, and second, using wireless media. With cable or wire, there are two different type, which is the copper wire, like this one, or plastic wire or fiber optic, like this one. Okay. Okay. This is called the twisted pair. Okay. If you look at it, there are two cables that twisted together, and this cable, there are 8 wires twisted every 2 of them, so it has 4 twisted connection, 8 in total. Twisted wire is the old telephone connectivity. It made from copper. So if you have old telephone cable in your house, you open the cable, you'll find 2 wire being twisted. But nowadays, a lot of the home telephone are using fiber optic already. Okay. So at the end or beginning of the cable, there will be this connector. It's called the RJ45. It will be connected to the computer. This cable usually used for local area network. This is a network within the same building or the same complex, just like our campuses. Okay? Our faculty use this cable to connect computers in our campuses, from lectures office to classroom to the labs to the administrative office to the dean's office, things like that. This cable have limited range. It is only the maximum range of twisted pair cable is 100 meters. The data or information being transmitted using electromagnetic signal. That's why it only has range of 100 meters, no more. If you want to transmit data more to more destination that more than 100 meters, after 100 meters you need a repeater that will reinforce the signal. Okay. The capacity. The last time I saw, there are few cable like this that can provide 10 gigabits of bandwidth. Okay, so it's quite good, quite wide. In general term, it's quite fast. When the Faculty of Economics, our faculty, was still in Brican campus, the network we use this cable is called the coaxial cable. It has a copper core and then a plastic wrapper and also another copper to wrap the cables and another plastic wrapper. Similar to the twisted pair, it has range maximum of 100 meters. However, it could only provide bandwidth up to 10 megabits per second. Nowadays, this wire is still being used for television antenna. So if you still have television antenna, this is probably the cable that you had to connect the antenna to the TV. Nowadays, more often than not, we use this for our internet connection at home, the fiber optic. So from this box, there will be smaller cables to each home, and at the end of the cables, there will be terminated using this. And you probably can, so if you subscribe to IndiHome or XL Home or BizNet using fiber optic, you probably will have this kind of devices at your home. Okay. Now, with fiber, instead of, because this the wire itself, the cable itself were made from plastic, from fiber optic, fiberglass, we cannot use electromagnetic signal. So instead, the data being sent using laser. Because it's using laser, it can reach hundreds and hundreds of kilometers without requiring repeater or signal enhancer. Okay. And it could have bandwidth up to hundreds and hundreds of megabits. Or sorry, hundreds and hundreds of gigabits. Okay. That's why fiber optic cable is the media of choice to build data communication infrastructure between countries. Okay, so our country have a connection to the North America or Europe and also Asia using fiber optic cable that being laid out under the sea. Okay, so a few days ago, I read that the cable that connected Philippines and the US somewhere in the ocean has been severed because it does happen all the time. Okay. So, and because it's using laser and using fiberglass, it could not be connected easily. With this, I can connect this easily. I can install it, no sweat. I can even install this. No, I still able to use the devices. The devices to install this is some kind of tools. It's called crimping tools. It costs like 250,000 rupiah. There are others that cheaper or more expensive, but yeah, it's available, easily available. I can use it easy. But connecting fiber optic is a different story. They need special devices like this one. This is how people connect fiber optic cables using special devices. So you can imagine if the under ocean cable being severed, to connect those cable require very difficult effort. Okay. Oh, the internet. Okay, how you use the internet? If you remember, in the Warriors of the Net video, each data package will be affixed with address. So any computer that connected to the internet, including our computer, your mobile phone, your tablet, either using cellular connection, fiber optic, or Wi-Fi, will have address. Okay. Now, the address called the Internet Protocol address. There are two versions, IP version, Internet Protocol address, IP address for short. IP address version 4. Version 4, we will discuss that later, like this. Numbers. Okay. The problem with numbers, so let me share you this. So when you want, for example, to go to detik, okay. So this 103.49.221.211 is the IP address of the tape. Let's see. This 202.14.92.112 is the IP address of our university. So these are the address that computer recognize. Okay, so whenever you want to go to Instagram or detik, this is the address that being targeted by the computers. However, humans are really bad in remembering numbers. Most of humans. That's why a lot of people can forget their anniversary date, birthday dates, or any other important dates. And a lot of people having difficulties calculating because they can't remember the numbers. And yeah, that's it. So how it works? So what happened? Instead of using number, okay, people then develop name. Detik.com, CNN.com, Instagram.com, Facebook.com. It's called the domain name. It's easier to remember detik.com compared to the whatever address that we had seen earlier. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So it's easier to remember names. However, computers only recognize the address with numbers. So what happened? Then we developed the domain name system. There are servers called the DNS servers, the domain name servers. So every time you want to go to, say, Instagram, and you type instagram.com in your browser, your computer will ask the DNS server, what's the address of instagram.com? Then the DNS server will give them the address of instagram.com. After getting the address, then your computer will go to that address. Okay, so DNS will translate domain name to IP address and IP address to domain name. With domain name, we have a top domain like .com, .edu, .gov, and also we have country domain, top domain name like .id for Indonesia, .my for Malaysia, .sg for Singapore, .au for Australia. Okay, and the style of domain name system, there are two different styles. The first is the American style using .edu for education, .com for commercial company, .gov for government organization, .org for non-profit organization, and .net for telecommunication. And there are the English or British style, which is that for education it will be .ac, for the government it will be .go, for commercial it will be .co, and so on and so forth. In our area, Southeast Asia and Pacific, I guess only Indonesia and New Zealand that use the British style. I don't know why. The others, Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines, they use American style. Australia also use American style. Although internet seems like a place where you can do whatever you want and nobody actually regulate anything, it's not necessarily true. There are plenty of regulator that regulate how internet works. For example, for domain name and IP address, there are ICANN, ICANN. And on how the website being presented and being developed, there are W3C. W3C is called the World Wide Web Consortium. It's a consortium, non-for-profit organization that being founded by the father of World Wide Web, Sir Tim Berners-Lee. So W3C provides a standard for how document being represented in the web. You're probably very familiar with document. With every website has documents called HTML. Okay. If you go to any website, let's see, our university. So this is the website of our university, and if you can see, I can show you the source. This is the HTML. See, HTML here. HTML. HTML is the language on how a document will be presented on the web. Okay. And this W3C, this is the organization that set a standard on on how HTML being developed. Okay. So these tools here will check how close a website to the standard. Okay. If there is discrepancies, then deviation from standard, then this website will give warning. Like if you can see, there are 30 warnings or error for our university website. What does it mean? Doesn't mean anything actually. But if you have non-standard HTML document, it won't be displayed consistently across any other devices or software. It happened a lot in the old time with Internet Explorer version 6. Internet Explorer version 6 was known notoriously not to comply to HTML standards. So if you have a website, it can be displayed beautifully, consistently on Firefox, Google Chrome, Apple Safari, or Opera. But then when you display that in Internet Explorer, it will be in disarray. And vice versa, you can build a website that look great in Internet Explorer, but then when you display that website on Firefox or Chrome, it will be in a bad shape. Okay, so that's it. What about other university in Indonesia? Is it as bad as Atmajaya? UGM has 6 more warning. We have only 30, UGM have 36. What about the best technical school in Indonesia? ITB. It's even worse. Oh no, it's similar to UGM. Okay, 36. Still, we are better. Let's see. The most expensive school in the world. Harvard. Wow. 38, worse than UGM or ITB. What about the best technical school in the world? MIT. Oh, see, if you can look at this, more than 50, 56 warning. Does it mean MIT website are worse than Atmajaya? Not necessarily. Lastly, let's see what this our own organization W3C. They have 3 errors. Okay, even the maker of the standard, the publisher of the standard, still has error. Like I said, it doesn't mean that your website will be bad, but there's a high chance if you don't comply to the standard, your website won't be displayed consistently across different devices. Okay. Let me share again the PowerPoint. Now, if you remember, a few months ago, we have this feud, and it's still ongoing between Telkom and Netflix. Originally, Telkom blocked Netflix, so the subscriber or the user of Telkom's network, like the subscriber of IndiHome, could not watch Netflix. Why? It's not monopoly. I mean, it's not a single incident in Indonesia. Similar thing happens in the US, where Netflix originated. So when Netflix started getting popular, a lot of people subscribe to Netflix. Okay, and streaming is quite a burden for the network. Okay. The internet service provider rely on, even though they have thousands and thousands of users, they rely on the fact in the old days that user will not use the network at the same time. Okay, you probably browse. Okay, you go to the TED and you download the TED website, and then you spend few seconds to read. While you spend the few seconds to read, the network is actually empty. Nobody using it, and so somebody else can use that. If you send email, when you write down the email, there is nothing data being exchanged, no data being exchanged. The network is actually empty. Somebody else can use that. But then when you use that to send your email, the data will be used. Somebody else will stop using it, and you can use that network. Now with streaming are different. Streaming, you use the network continuously for a few minutes or few hours. You continuously getting data from a Netflix server. And imagine that many people using the Netflix. So we have the equivalent of traffic jam. And it requires specific technology and techniques, tools to manage that. It's more expensive. The problem is, you subscribe to Netflix, you pay to Netflix, not to Telkom. So you use Telkom to watch Netflix, and Telkom has to suffer from it. However, Netflix get the money, not Telkom. Okay, so that's the problem. So in the US, it started with some companies, telecommunication companies, putting restriction on Netflix. Okay, and then Netflix goes to the Supreme Court. To the court, and they complain that it's not constitutional. This is equivalent to censoring. And censorship on the US, in the US, is considered a violation of the first US Constitution Amendment, freedom of speech. Okay, so the government said that, the US government said that this is during Obama's era, that telecommunication operator could not discriminate traffic. Okay, whether it's Netflix or prescription or email, you cannot put restriction on that. Okay, that's called net neutrality. Okay. And that's what happened now with what happened with Telkom and Netflix. And if you still look, Telkom is still complaining that Netflix doesn't pay anything, although the user of Netflix, most user of Netflix, using Telkom infrastructure that Telkom paid. Okay, now this is the internet address, IP address, if you remember. So this is IP version 4. It has 4 blocks of number, and each block consists of 3 digits. 49 is actually 049. Okay. The number range from 0 to up to 2555. So it's only 256 to the power of 4 available address. And few years ago, all IP version 4 address has been distributed. So there is no more free IP version 4 address. And that has been anticipated quite sometimes. So the ICANN and also a lot of other bodies, they came up with IP version 6. This is the address of IP version 6. Okay. Instead of using decimal number, IP version 6 using hexadecimal number. So it has way more address than IP version 4. Somebody even said a few years ago that every square inch of Earth surface can be given address using IP version 6, and there are still plenty more left. What this is got to do with us? Nothing. This is only concern for telecommunication provider. telecommunication operator, not us. What we need to know is we are connected to internet and can use that for our purposes. Okay, internet services, you probably use that. Email, I don't think you strange to that. Chatting, instant messaging, news group, Telnet. Well, I don't think you can use Telnet anymore. Telnet is a very old program that rarely used anymore. File transfer protocol also, this is used to move files from one place to another place, but nowadays it's not really popular anymore, except for people who manage network. World Wide Web, we're already familiar with this, so this is typical internet settings. Okay. You remember that every time you visit a website, the website is actually here. If you go to internet banking website, for example, what you see, the internet banking website is here, but the internet banking application or core banking application are actually here. So when you say asking for money transfers, the command to transfer money is actually sent from this server to this server. This one, the application server, the one is actually going to conduct the transfer, not this one. So if somebody deface or change the website of a company, is actually happen here, not here or even here. This is where your data being stored. This server could be located in Jogja, application server could be located in Jakarta, and your database servers could be located in Surabaya, for example. Okay, nobody actually knows where. Few years ago, somebody replaced the website of Telkomsel in a protest because of the hacker felt Telkomsel tariffs are too expensive. What happened with Telkomsel services? Telkomsel customers still can make calls, they can still pay bills, they can still using 4G internet connection and everything else. Nothing happened because the hacker only reached here. They could not penetrate the inner system. It's very difficult. Other services, voice over IP, for you to have a voice call using Line, using Skype, using Microsoft Teams like this one. Okay. Virtual private network, this is to secure the communication. Okay. So this is the virtual private network. Anything that's sent over the internet, as you can see in the Warriors of the Net video, can be tapped. Somebody else could listen to your communication. But with virtual private network, the communication will be secure. So even though somebody else listening to your communication, tapping your communication, they could not understand the content because it will be secure. Okay. Monitoring use of the internet. Many people have this illusion that their activities over the internet mostly anonymous. That couldn't be far from the truth. Okay. All your activity using a network will be monitored. Is it because the provider want to know your business? No. There are many reasons, and none including your privacy, to monitor the network. One, for performance. Okay. So if people are getting more and more using the network, then the network administrator have to prepare for that. Second, for security reasons, like Atmajaya, for example. When you use campus network using Wi-Fi, you are being monitored by KSI, the Information System Office. Why? For security purposes. In 2007, when I was head of computer labs at our faculty, I heard that few internet cafe around our campuses has been visited by officer from National Intelligence Bureau, BIN. Why? Because BIN detected that those internet cafe has been used to access information relating to terrorism, how to make bombs and things like that. Not long after that, few days after that, Densus 88, the anti-terror police, make a raid and they arrest few suspected terrorists close to the ring road. So it's not far from our campuses. Okay, and that's because our government monitor the internet for terrorism. Okay. Oh, I forget. Do you remember last semester when we were forced to change from face-to-face meeting to online meeting, and the Situs Kuliah having difficulties? Sometimes it's stuck, sometimes it's very slow, sometimes it could not be used. The problem with Situs Kuliah is not here or even here, but here in database. Okay. So the database server being used by Atmajaya at the time could not handle that many users at the same time. Okay. Nowadays it's better. Okay. I've seen that Situs Kuliah being used by almost 1,000 users and it's still fine. Okay. Search engines, you're already familiar that Google is number one. Okay. And this is how Google works. I don't want to repeat that. Web 2.0, this is about, so web version 1 is where the company upload information creating website and we as the user only consume that. But with web version 2 or 2.0, we contribute. There are interactivity. Okay. With social networking, you complain to a company using their social media and then they will respond to that complaint, things like that. And then there will be Web 3.0, which is, I think, part of it we already have, like Internet of Things. We can monitor our health using smartwatch, for example, monitoring blood oxygen level, monitoring heartbeats, monitoring sleeping pattern, things like that. Cellular system, we already have 4G and 5G. Maybe in the next few years we will enjoy 5G in Indonesia. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Again, you're already familiar with this. Specific notes on Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi, especially if you use Wi-Fi in public places like cafe, malls, restaurant, it's insecure. Okay. Why? Because people with same device could listen to the data that being transmitted between your device to access point here. Okay. There are plenty of tools. There are plenty of techniques. There are plenty of how to listen or hijack Wi-Fi communication. That's why if you want to use public Wi-Fi, don't use it for critical activity like internet banking or accessing private account, checking email, for example. If you need to do internet banking, using your cellular connection is more secure. Okay. I can set up Wi-Fi using 300,000 equipment in 15 minutes, and then I can listen to any information that being transmitted. There are plenty of ways in the internet to how to do that. Okay, I will not tell you how. Okay. Wi-Fi in our campus it's more secure. Why? Because you need to log in and also provide your credential. So it's being controlled by the university. It's more secure compared to public Wi-Fi like the one in cafe, hotel, or mall. Radio frequency ID. This is something that being used now. The idea is you have this chip to transmit information, and then it will be read by RFID reader. Okay. Our eKTP already has this, okay, so and plenty of other card has this. So, for example, if you want to, in 2015 in Australia, they already use this for payment. So instead of putting the card into the machine to be read for transaction, they just tap the card into the machine. Okay, just if you watch how the e-toll works, you know, the toll card being tapped into the toll booth, that's how RFID works. And e-toll using RFID. Okay, sensors. Okay. That's it for our lecture today. Any question from you? Anything you want to discuss? Anything you want to clarify? Okay. For today, you don't need to do any mini assignment. I will just download the attendance list from Microsoft Teams and we'll count that as your attendance. Okay. Next week we still have video meeting lectures, and I'll explain to you about our midterm exam. Okay, and don't forget that next week is the due date for your big group assignment. Okay. Lastly, last chance. Do you have any question?
Not yet, Pak.
No? Okay. Okay then. That's it for today. See you next week and take care of yourself.